greet you once again today. I'm back again with continuity of how mankind began. It's part two today. Let me start by making some layout that will answer to some of your questions. There are three kingdoms in this world: the kingdom of man, the kingdom of light, and the kingdom of darkness. The kingdom of light and the kingdom of darkness are both spiritual. To acquire some information out of these kingdoms, a person has to be spiritual. By the way, a human being is spiritual, maybe physical, but he is also spiritual. So he is able to acquire spiritual things, spiritual knowledge, spiritual information that you get through spirituality. There is there is a verse that says, "But God has revealed unto us by His Spirit, for the Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God." In other words, even the deep things of spirituality. Yes. So this channel also is about spirituality. One must delve into the spirituality in order to get some of the information. There are many spiritual books that have been written, and all those spiritual books have been written by men, by human beings. Yes, so it means that human beings are spiritual. The Bible is a spiritual book. The Quran is a spiritual book. And all other books, there are many spiritual books. And then it depends under which category in these kingdoms do each book belong. But every book found in this world has been written by a human being. And then out of those books, we get information, the information that has been revealed to the author of that book, to the writer of that book. So what you will hear must not surprise you. In other words, you must not take it as if there's no way to find out all the knowledge, all the information that I'm going to be revealing in this channel. Because I'm also a human being, I'm also spiritual. All human beings are spiritual. You are also spiritual. So you can delve into spiritual things. And then even as I'm speaking, because I'm spiritual and I'm speaking to you, you are also spiritual. Your heart will know if what I'm saying is true. Your heart will know if what I'm saying may not be true. God reveals unto us by His Spirit, for the Spirit searches all things, even the deep things. So your spirit and my spirit searches the deep things. Today, as a topic, we are speaking about the mystery of the two couples. From part one, we found out that the first human beings, or a couple, because it was a male and a female. The first male and a female is the first couple on earth. In other words, the first people on earth were a couple. It was a man and a woman. And the second couple is Adam and Eve. I think by now we are agreeing that Adam is not the first person or the first human being on earth, but he is the first person to invade heaven or to reside in heaven. There are backing proofs in part one to prove, I was proving for you that Adam is the first human being to invade Eden. And we also found out that Eden is paradise or heaven. So Eden was never on earth, but Eden was separate from the earth, was not part of the earth. Adam couldn't be the first person on earth because if God had taken people that he had created on earth, if they were still two on earth by the time that God went to the earth to take one person in order to rapture him into heaven, he wouldn't have taken one man if that man was married or if that man had a spouse. He would have taken both of them. So this proves that the one who has been taken from the earth into paradise or Eden was not that the first male and female that were created, but it was uh, he was from the lineage of the two first people to be created. During the time when God went to the earth to take one person and to put him into heaven, there were many people on earth by that time. And there's something that has been revealed to me that the period, it was now about 400 years of humankind on earth when Adam was raptured into heaven. The duration now of mankind on earth was 400 years. In 400 years, that first couple must have now filled the earth because God said that God blessed them and said that they must fill the whole earth. So after 400 years, there were many people on earth. And then God took one of them into heaven. That is rapture. God raptured one of them into heaven, who was introduced as Adam to us. When Adam was in heaven, God created another human being, a spouse for him, Eve. He created Eve out of the earth that could be found in Adam, because Adam was the earth. We found from part one that the name Adam means ground. So the ground out of which God created Eve was found in Adam because Adam was made out of that ground. There's a reason why God didn't create Eve out of the dust of heaven or dust of Eden. Had Eve been created out of the dust of heaven, when God chased them away from the heaven into the earth, Eve wouldn't have been able to live on earth because if Eve was created by the dust of Eden, Eve would have been the same as an angel. He would be more of an angel than a human being. Adam and Eve wouldn't have been able to be of one flesh because the other one is not created out of the dust or out of the ground of the earth, but the other one has been created out of the ground of Eden. And now I believe that angels have been created out of the dust of heaven. And then that's why they cannot be like us because they are not created out of the ground of the earth or the dust of the earth. God says when he was chasing them away, he said, you are dust, or you are the earth, go back to the earth. And they returned from heaven into the earth. And Adam lived on earth 930 years. In other words, Adam went to heaven to reside in heaven. And then after some time, he returned back to the earth. he experienced death. He grew old on earth, and he bore children on earth. Cain was the first child to be born from Adam and Eve. If Cain is the firstborn and he gets somebody to marry, this proves that Adam is not the only person on earth. There were people on earth. And amongst those people on earth, Cain found somebody to marry. We can't even say that Cain married his sister because Cain was the firstborn. And then after Cain, uh, Abel was born, or Abel was born. Abel also was not a female, it was a male person. If Adam was the first person on earth, it wouldn't have been possible for Cain to marry one of them. He wouldn't have been able. So this proves that Adam was not the first person on earth. I'm trying by all means to convince you that Adam is not the first person on earth, but Adam is the first person to inhabit heaven or to reside in heaven. Now, back to the topic of the day, the mystery of the two original couples. The first male and the first female are the original couples. Adam and Eve are the original couples. So that the two original couples are the first male and female plus Adam and Eve. These are the first couples on earth. I think you must be understanding now that God created three individuals that God directly created by his hands or his word. Though it may not be clear how God created him, because the word of God creates, has the power to create. God can speak something into being. God spoke something to the ground, and what God spoke to the ground came into being, a human being. So uh, God directly created three human beings. He created one male who is the husband to the first female. And then he created two women. He created the first female and Eve. Those were the women that God created. So God created three people. Eve is one of them, but Adam is not one of them. Adam was born. He was not created by God, but he was born out of the lineage of the first male and the first female. Adam knew how to be a toddler, how to be a child. He knew that. I believe that when he was raptured from the earth, he was raptured as an adult, because God couldn't rapture Adam as an infant or as a baby, because now there wouldn't be someone to take care of him. He ought to have been nurtured by his mother. So I believe that Adam was raptured from the earth as an adult, but it's Adam who experienced infancy. The first male and the first female, I believe God created them as adults. They don't know how to be a baby, how to be an infant. They don't know how to be a toddler. They don't know how to be a child, but they were created as adults, the first male. So these three people that God created, the first male and the first female, plus Eve, they were created as adults, because even Eve was created to be Adam's wife. So God created her as an adult, suitable to be Adam's wife. Eve does not know how to be an infant, how to be a toddler, how to be a child. There is a mystery now in these original couples. There are two original races on earth. Each race is born out of a woman, because we have said that God created two women and one man. Out of these two women were born two races, two original races on earth. Who are these two original races on earth? Can you guess it? If you have found out these races now, you will guess that the first female and Eve were not the same in complexion. The first female was dark and the second female was light. All other races came out of these two original races. And the light generation is the generation of the second female. The dark generation is the generation of the first female. What makes somebody to become of certain race has to do with the skin color. Though I don't want to say this, but I have to say this, that they have even given names for the dark race. They are blacks. And the light skin race, we have given the name white or whites. So these are the names that have been given by us. So the original race, in other words, are the black race and the white race. And all other races that became were born out of interactions amongst these two races. They've given us more races, but they were original races because the first female was a black female. The second female, which is Eve, was a white female. Out of Eve came about a white race. Out of the first female came about a black race. And then between these original races, there were interactions and some races were born, because now it seems as if even human beings themselves, they sorted themselves into specific races. What astonished me is that God is colorblind, but God sees a human being. God does not care about the color of the skin. He does not care. And Adam was of the black race. In other words, Adam was a black man and Eve was a white woman. The first male and the first female gave birth to a dark race. Adam was also of a dark race. In other words, the black race. A prophet sometimes cannot understand what he is uttering or what he is saying. A prophet may die without having understood what he said, because he was speaking out of inspiration of the Spirit. We have just read that the deep things of God are revealed to us by his Spirit. And now we are not of the Spirit only. We are also of the carnal mind. In the Bible, it's written as carnal, the carnal mind and the spirit and the mind of the spirit. A carnal mind cannot understand what the mind of the spirit is saying. But when we're teaching the spirituality, we are using more of the mind of the spirit. Even as I'm teaching this, I'm using more of the mind of the spirit than my carnal mind. My carnal mind refuses sometimes to agree what the mind of the spirit is saying. That's why now there is this verse that says, walk by the spirit. In other words, don't walk only by the carnal mind, but also walk by the spirit. I believe that what I'm saying is true. I'm convinced that Adam was not the first person on earth. I'm convinced that the first people on earth were the first male and the first female. I'm convinced that the first male and the first female were of dark skin, a black race, and Eve was of a light skin, and out of Eve were born what we call whites, the first woman and the second woman. The first woman out of whom was born the black race. The second woman out of whom was born the white race. There's a lot that I could be saying right now, but I don't want to say it at the moment. I want what I've said just to sink in, and also what I've tried to explain to you. Your spirit will know it, and even your spirit will even go to where I haven't even been in understanding of this. Perhaps you will understand this more than I understand it. So I want to say thank you for listening. This channel came about because I was eager even for you to understand what has been revealed to me. So because you have heard it, you may comment, you may like, you may share it to others. Thank you therefore for watching. Part 3 is coming. In part 3, we will be looking at this 400 years period that I've spoke about, the 400-year period, and also trying to convince you even further about the second woman being of a light skin race. It may be the last part to understand the original races. Part 3. Thank you for watching. God bless you.